Hello. When we talk about Shakespeare, we come to the conclusion that he wrote four tragedies, and those four tragedies are Hamlet, Macbeth, King Lear, and Othello. And whenever we read these four tragedies, we come to the conclusion that these are the women who take the initiative in Shakespeare. In all the four tragedies, we find that there is a woman behind every catastrophe, every tragedy, in all these tragedies. So, this is indeed a true thing in Macbeth also. Today, I want to talk something about Lady Macbeth. Now, as you all know, that Lady Macbeth was as much ambitious as her husband was. Her husband, Macbeth, was general in the army of King Duncan's army of Scotland. King Duncan was the king of Scotland, whereas Macbeth was his general. He fought bravely against Norway. He and his companion Banquo fought bravely against the all enemies of Duncan. They emerged victorious. While they were coming back from the battlefield, they incidentally met three witches. The three witches had dubious intentions. They wanted to beguile Macbeth into doing something. They wanted to bewilder him and Banquo also. So they prophesied that Macbeth will be the next king of Scotland. Now, hearing these words, Macbeth was on the crest of a wave because he had never thought of becoming a king, but he did have the ambition, did have a hidden ambition to become the king of Scotland. He wanted to be the undisputed king of Scotland by dethroning the King Duncan. He wanted to be the usurper so that he might fulfill his evil intentions. So, the three witches also prophesied that Banquo will not be the king, but his sons will be the king in future. So, in that way, the dubious witches did predict some hope for Macbeth and Banquo. When Macbeth reached home, he told all the prophecies that were predicted by the three witches. Now, hearing these words, Lady Macbeth at that very instant jumped to the conclusion that Macbeth would surely be the next undisputed king of Scotland. She had also the ill will to execute to make her husband become the undisputed king of Scotland. Now, as you know, a woman is guided more by her heart than by her head. This is true in Lady Macbeth's character. Lady Macbeth did not think, Lady Macbeth thought more from her heart than from her head. She, at that very instant, she had evil intentions of murdering King Duncan. She had exclusive devotion towards making her husband the undisputed king of Scotland. So she instigated him to carry out the plot and thus kill King Duncan. She also gave him a dagger so that he might not feel frightened. She invited Duncan to her castle for a dinner, and King Duncan came and she persuaded Macbeth to get him killed. So Macbeth was fully driven by the driven by her husband, driven by his wife. He executed the ill will of his wife and he thus killed King Duncan. Now one murder leads to another. After killing Duncan, Macbeth had to hide his guilt by committing more crimes. He killed many people in order to escape punishment. So his wife kept helping him in that way. Now, in that way, Macbeth now had become a murderess. He had fully become a murderess. And Lady Macbeth had started repenting her evil deeds. She had a guilty conscience, and as you know, a guilty conscience is self accused. Now, in that banquet scene, Lady Macbeth was full of fit, and even Macbeth had hallucination. in that banquet. He saw the ghost of Banquo, whom he had murdered, in order to get rid of the evidence. So, Lady Macbeth started feeling that she had committed a hideous crime. She had instigated her husband wrongly to commit that hideous crime of murdering those people. Now, she started lamenting her, she started repenting her evil deeds. And the best scene of the Macbeth is sleepwalking scene. She started walking in her sleep, holding a candle in her hand, because she was afraid of darkness, and she also washed her hands in air so as to get rid of the blood that was in her hand. She was had become a bloody battle had led her to be insane. She had become insane, she had become mad, and thus she committed suicide. So in that way, we come to the conclusion that all the tragedies that took place in the history of human life, there is a woman. Whether Ramayana, whether Mahabharata, whether these tragedies, four tragedies, on all these tragedies, there is a woman behind all these tragedies. She makes her husband commit these heinous crimes. A woman is more tyrant, more ruthless than a man. This is true. That a woman does not think like a man, but a man has mercy, but whereas a woman is merciless, ruthless. Now there is also one saying that beauty can more easily change virtue into hypocrisy than virtue can transform beauty into purity. It means that an illicit woman can very easily lead a sincere man astray, but a sincere man cannot rectify an illicit lady. It means that an illicit lady can more easily beguile a sincere man into committing a crime, whereas a sincere man cannot reform her and cannot purify her, cannot bring her to the path of purity and serenity. So, in that way, I have come to the conclusion that Lady Macbeth was more responsible for the tragedy of Macbeth rather than Macbeth himself. Thank you.